We are back and we are live with Bored and Hungry founder Andy Nguyen talking about his Bored Ape Yacht Club restaurant. I am excited. Yossi, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, and this is one of the first use cases, or maybe not the first, but one of the most interesting use cases about owning your commercial IP for your NFT. We're going to have Andy Nguyen, foodpreneur, coming on to talk about Bored and Hungry, the first restaurant, I think, in the world that has taken the Bored Ape Yacht Club brand, taken their NFTs, turned that into a restaurant, and also has an exciting NFT launch that he is dropping called Food Fighters Universe that we're going to dive into on today's show. Super interesting. I can't wait to get into it.
Let's get right into it. Let's bring Andy on. Andy, what's up, buddy? Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Glad to be here.
Good morning. Good morning. We are excited you are on the show. Well, let's get right into it. We want to hear your story, your journey. I think the most interesting question is, how did you get into Web3?
Web3. So 19-year-old college dropout, 20 years ago is when I graduated high school. Got tricked into jumping into real estate with my best friend. I started my own first company with him as a real estate appraiser. Had no idea what the hell I was doing. But we quickly learned how to make money at an early age and also learned how much I didn't like the industry. So I jumped into my passion at the time, which was apparel, learned how to start a clothing brand, built a brand up through a streetwear brand, through marketing, branding, production, everything I learned a lot of through that company, built a team of 40 under my umbrella. And then from there, I had a different hobby as I was going into food. So I tried this concept out, this ice cream concept out that I wanted to do, and launched my first ice cream brand about 8 years ago called After's Ice Cream. We currently have 27 locations in Southern California, and one in Las Vegas. And from there, I also helped build about 20 other concepts around the world. I do a lot of licensing brands like Hello Kitty Cafe, a boba company called Seven Leaves Cafe. I have a burger concept with legendary rapper Bun B. So the list goes on, kind of everything that I've been working on. But through this pandemic, I saw a shift. A lot of things were changing. Food costs were rising at a crazy number. Now hiring, if you're in California, you see now hiring signs everywhere. I'm not sure everywhere else, but in California specifically, they were insanely everywhere. We had, everyone was quitting on us. We had a lack of staff, and the quality of service started dipping as well. And I was like, I can't envision myself the next 5 years doing this. I got to figure something out. I've always made things work with a tight budget. Built crazy concepts, worked with a lot of crazy people, but I've always imagined like, hey, if somebody gave me if I had more money to play with, I can make a larger impact. And with restaurants trying to raise money, it's like, that's not, the margins are thin. No one, everyone wants to be in it because they think it's cool, but investing it, they're like, I don't know. But in tech, it's the complete opposite. In tech, you can invest in 10, a big investor would throw in 10 companies, hundreds of millions, loses 9 of them. He's like, whatever. And I was like, okay, I need to figure this out. How do you bring this together? I don't want to do another Yelp. I don't want to do a food app. I've seen a million of these guys try to approach me. I'm like, no, I'm not trying to do that. Started talking to my friends about it, and my buddy Kevin was like, I think you can do that with NFTs. What you're trying to do with NFTs? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And we went down this rabbit hole and learning about, the NFT realm, of learning about community, branding, marketing, collecting. I was like, yo, this is what I've been doing for the past 20 years already, but in this digital space, this is my world. Like, okay, I want to get in, but I need to figure out my lane before I jump in.
So when you say you wanted to figure out your lane before you jump in, you've got this experience as a foodpreneur and a restaurateur, and Kevin gives you this idea of NFTs. So what was your journey from there? Talk us through how you then transitioned into the Web3 world, went down that rabbit hole. What did that look like?
Yeah, we're learning more about the NFT industry, about the PFP collections and what it could do. I studied Gary Vee and seeing what he was doing with Flyfish. So I started seeing a vision. I was like, well, I want to do something the opposite of what Gary's doing. Gary's doing something for exclusive. I wanted something more mass, wider audience. So I came up with this idea to do food fighters, but I knew the industry is also very sensitive to people just entering the space. And I was like, okay, if I come in, I need to provide some type of value to the community, right? I need to do something that's going to shake things up. So I came up with this idea. I was like, guys, I'm going to buy a Bored Ape. You know, in pop culture, that's the most, you know, everyone in pop culture knows what it is right now. Every celebrity has one. No matter where you live around the world, if you understand pop culture, you've seen the ape somewhere. So it took me a while. It took me about 3 months to acquire, just because going through the whole process of not knowing how to buy an NFT and actually getting one stolen in the process. So it took about 3 months, and I finally landed it on March 1st, and I posted it on my Instagram profile. And I knew exactly what people were going to say. It was like all strategy. I was like, watch what happens. You know, half my friends were like, "Oh, look, he's flexing. You know, he's flexing because he has money. He bought a Bored Ape." But the other half was like, "Wait a minute, Andy, you're jumping into Web3. Like, okay, there must be something to it, right? It must be something to it. If you're jumping in, then we're gonna keep watching." A week later, I post a picture of this Photoshop image of this packaging with the apes on it, and people are like, are you opening a Metaverse restaurant? And I didn't say anything. I stayed quiet. And the week after that, that's when I posted the picture of the restaurant space with the Bored and Hungry sign. And that's when it went off. People were like, okay, what is going on? What is this guy doing? For me, it was, this is my gift to the Web3 community. I'm bringing something that the community has been yearning for in real life experience, right? Everyone's like, hey, how do you apply this to real life? But so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to put this restaurant space together for you guys. You guys can come here and eat, and a place to congregate and hang out in person and meet each other. But also for the skeptical crowd, this is a project that would take the skepticism away with JPEGs. You know, the term JPEG is like a bad thing. I was like, guys, I took this JPEG and I built a brand, I built a business out of it. There's a lot more to this. So I'm showing you guys what you can do with IP.
So talk us through that vision. What is the vision? So you've taken this ape and we've got it on the screen. It looks very funky in how you've transformed the space. But tell us a bit about that vision and where you see it going.
Yeah, I think this space is great. We're seeing a lot of people come by, kids that are bringing their parents that know about. I've seen these apes, but they don't know what it does. So our place is a place for education, right? There's people that have a lot of NFTs and collecting for a while. And if you're sitting at a table and somebody's like, what's an NFT? You have somebody there that can help explain to you and bridge the gap. They can help you about the education of safety, how to protect your stuff, how to talk about, which collections are cool, why they should buy, what they should buy. And I think this is a great bridging point with the project.
So I have a question, Andy. As far as if I'm an ape holder or immune holder, is there any specific benefits that I get by visiting your restaurant?
On grand opening day, we definitely did. So we were token gating to make sure we were verifying people that were ape holder. If you're a Bored Ape holder, you got a free meal that day. And if you had a mutant, then you got a free burger. We're still cleaning up the system a bit, but we will have ongoing different offerings along the way. We want to still keep the space open and evolving, not just having to be a Bored Ape. It could be different IP. We're in talks with other brands, to help spotlight their companies as well.
So this is, I guess, a pop-up, right? It's not necessarily a full-blown concept. It's more of a pop-up where you're then going to go and develop other brands that are going to come into the space.
So I got the location before we did this concept. I already had the location for a different concept.
Gotcha.
And we were getting ready. We were in construction, and I said, "Stop everything, everybody! I got this idea. This is what we're gonna do." So we halted it. And originally, I thought it was gonna be a 90-day project, but then even before opening, I've been getting inquiries from around the world to open more locations. I was like, okay, I guess this has to be something more permanent, which it is permanent. Now we're gonna go on the full 5-year lease that we have. But we're gonna make sure we keep it evolving. It doesn't have to be stuck to an ape. It'll stay in the name Bored and Hungry, but we'll collaborate with different holders. We'll collaborate with different ape holders, and we'll also collaborate with different brands as well to do cool things of getting the community engaged.
That's awesome.
And Andy, so is the vision? You started at the beginning saying like margins in a restaurant business are low. You wanted to transform it into a tech company. and enter the space with the technology side. How does that play out into the business model for a restaurant? And then tell us what you're doing with Food Fighters Universe and how that relates.
Yeah, so what I learned with Gary Vee's concept through the Fly Fish was there's only 3,000 memberships, right? And you're getting to go to an exclusive restaurant in New York, a prime real estate in New York. And if you're calculating by 3,000 memberships only, you're like, does this make sense if you're only serving 3,000 people, period? Like it doesn't make sense. Like how's that sustainable? But once you understand the way NFT trades and where the value's at, how much he's actually raised, you can pay your staff a lot higher, like healthier wages. You can have you technically don't even have to serve customers, and you still be sustainable. You'll be just fine for the next 5-10 years. And I was like, okay, well, this changes the model because now people can cook for a passion, or they can you can pay a lot higher. You'll get better quality service again. Like all the things that are wrong with the industry right now, with just that, you're gonna come there. You're gonna have a great experience just because of everything that he's taking care of.
So is your goal the same? Is it a VIP concept?
With Food Fighters Universe, the first 6 months we're going to open or partner up with 5 different concepts, whether it's like new chefs that deserves talent that we want to give a platform to. So we're going to open 5 different concepts, and it's going to be open to everyone. But as a holder, you'll definitely get to eat once a month for free. Along the way, we will also build speakeasy type of restaurants, like 10-seaters, which are exclusive. Like you have to be a holder to reserve those ones. But for the most part, it will be for the mass audience, and we'll do a food and music festival because the people on our team are major players. We have Bun B, the rappers on our team, Baron Davis, NBA players on our team. So putting talent from music and guests for this food festival that we're doing is also going to be pretty wild.
So, I mean, you're basically bridging the gap, right? You're combining those in real life experiences with NFTs, which I think is genius. And I think 2022 is the year for that to happen. I think we're going to see a lot more of that. And I think the community's earned for that. What do you tell somebody that shows up to your restaurant, going back to Bored and Hungry, who has no idea what Bored Apes are, what NFTs are, and they just happen to walk through the door because they're walking by and they wanted a burger? Is there like a little bit of a shock and awe when they walk through the door? Is there an education process?
Well, if you look at the space already, it looks crazy, right, when you walk in. So even if you didn't know what an ape is, you're like, hey, this is a pretty cool looking space, right? And also the food is excellent, right? We knew at the end of the day, the food has to be good. Like no matter what, this is not just a gimmick. If you come here, you just wanted a burger and you didn't care about NFTs, you still be able to enjoy the food. The education process, we're still training our staff right now, trying to understand, like, educate them about NFTs and how, if customers talk to them, how do they explain it, right? We're trying to get them in it, slowly onboard them to like, hey, we'll show you how to buy this small collection so you can get an idea of how this all works.
And how has the community been? How has the community been as far as when, the ape holders walk in, or when you guys first opened? Because it was really probably one of the first in real life experiences that apes were able to experience, besides Ape Fest, which was put on by the team.
Ape holders are ultra passionate. They are insane. They were flying in from Miami, Brazil. Like they were flocking here. Obviously, if you saw the picture, you saw the lines. It was completely insane. It's still super busy every day. A lot of ape holders still showing up to show love and getting photos. We had one holder in line actually buy a mutant ape because he wanted to, he's like, I'm here, I'm going to be a part of history. So I was like, so you just bought a $60,000 burger. This is crazy.
I hope you guys give him a free meal.
He definitely got taken care of. That he definitely got taken care of. It was we recorded it, and it was pretty cool to watch. But you could see, this community is different. Like people they show up and they show love, and it's nothing I've ever seen before.
Can people pay with ApeCoin at your place?
Yes. So we have a system that we had one of our buddies from Augmented Labs create for us. It got down to the last wire the night before, like at midnight. He's like, okay, I got it working. And trying to explain to us how to use it. It was definitely not easy. We're still at the same time cleaning it up right now, but we accept ApeCoin and Ethereum right now. Yes.
Amazing.
What's your advice to, I guess, other entrepreneurs and builders who are building in the Web3 space, maybe not necessarily restaurants, but are also trying to bridge that gap between Web3 and, businesses? What would be your advice to some of those people? What are some things that they should be mindful of, and how they should be going into something like that?
I think if people are entering, trying to do something different, they need to still relate it to their space of what they understand, right? For myself, I did it to what I was already doing in my, my current life, which is restaurants, right? I applied it to what I know, um, but at the same time, I was trying to innovate, accept it, token gating and accepting ApeCoin, like things that are different, but I still in the realm of what I already do. I see a lot of people offering utility to industries that they've never been involved in. I'm like, hey, are you sure you can pull that off? Because you don't have any track record. So I think with people that are jumping in the space, being mindful of their track record and what they're putting out, being able to fulfill the promise, which I think is a big part of the community. If you can fulfill that promise, then I think that's what they need to do.
And tell us about Food Fighters NFT. What is it? How do people get involved? Tell us more.
Yeah, it's a 10,000 PFP collection that we're currently working out right now. We are looking to drop in sometime in May. On my side is I'm trying to save and change the restaurant industry, right? And on the community side, I'm trying to bring real life utility, also metaverse, and Web3 utility at the same time. But I think with myself is I have a track record that I believe I can pull it off, right? I hope the community trusts that if I pull this off, it's going to change the game, not just for food, but different industries at the same time. People be like, well, look what he pulled off. Like now we can apply it to real estate, fashion, different type of industries and realms in things that they understand. And with Food Fighters, we're currently on Discord, Twitter right now. We are still learning at the same time. This industry is always evolving. Everything feels like it's moving a million miles a second. And I've only been in the space since I barely jumped in since November, and I've been down this rabbit hole. I'm up late studying, asking questions, and I think the great thing about this industry is that people are open to educating and helping each other. I have people up at 3 a.m. walking me through things, like showing me how to use Ledger, showing me how to use Genosis, all those things that if in any other industry it wouldn't happen, right? No, they would be like, nah, good luck. But this one, this industry, they're up late. These degens are up at 3 a.m. walking me through this process, smiling, happy, and they don't even know me.
That's like morning for them.
That is the community. And what I love about that story, I mean, if you think about it, people look at the NFT market and they see it and they see these crazy prices with NFTs and they think it's too late. I've missed out. This is like not for me. And if you compare it to any other market, people have been potentially in finance for 10, 15, 20 years. There is no one who's been in the NFT market for 10, 15, 20 years. You're saying you got involved in November. You've been involved for 5 months. You've launched an innovative new concept that adds to what the technology can do. And you're now an expert in that category because there are no experts in that category, and you're building the playbook as you go along. So anyone listening thinking, it's too late, I don't really understand this, how am I going to get involved in this? You can see right here that it is still in the very beginning. And if you just put your kind of head down and get involved in the community, you can move very quickly and build some innovative stuff here. So I commend you for that first and foremost. But I think that's the main takeaway that people can take from the show, is that there's really every industry can be impacted and changed and reimagined through this technology, from restaurants to whatever you can think of. And that's what I love about what you're doing.
Yeah, and I love your transparency, right? You're not kind of trying to come off as saying, hey, I'm a Web3 expert, where I think where some people fail, right? They come in and they're like, oh, I've been in the space for 3 months, I'm an expert. You're very transparent saying, I'm learning as I go, but I'm an expert at being a restaurateur, and that's the value I could bring, and you're bridging that gap, which I think is very noble of you. And like Yossi said, you're building that playbook, and now other businesses could go ahead and adopt that playbook. And I like that you guys are kind of open and trying to figure out what the concept is going to be long term. And it seems like there's a lot of opportunities and possibilities for that because of how the community is reacting to what you guys are already doing and building. Kudos to you. I mean, comment from the audience right here. There should be a Bitcoin ATM machine inside the restaurant. I think that is a pretty good idea.
Yeah,
we want to continue to go down that Web3 rabbit hole.
Of course, we've had a bunch of offers on it. We're looking into different machines right now to decide which one we want to run having in the store. But
people are on it. People are on it. Andy, last question from me. How do you think about the IP of the ape that you acquired, and then the brand that you're building with that? Do you think long term that is going to, make your ape more valuable than anyone else's, or what are you thinking in terms of the commercial relationship between the JPEG and the Bored and Hungry store, or is there any relationship? And how do other people think about it if they're thinking about owning the commercial rights to their apes?
Yeah, I think our ape is definitely, the value has increased with the clean simple apes, because since we acquired it, it was selected by strategy and understanding, like, hey, this ape would fit well on the mass market. I didn't pick a crazy one with I was like, I'm gonna pick a clean one. Striped shirts. This one looks very friendly, commercial. You can do a lot of things with it. We gave him a name. His name is Henry the Hangry Ape.
I like it, Hangry.
Yeah, he's gonna stick around the food realm of what we do, and it'll definitely increase the value. I don't think that was our intention, but we've seen it and we definitely understand it. It's just crazy. It's just crazy to see, and I think. Besides the money part, the impact of this character, these IPs that we have is completely insane.
And what I'd love to see in the future is, and whether you do this or not, let's say, Bored and Hungry is tremendously successful, 500 stores around the world, or 50 stores around the world, whatever it is. The way you can buy the franchise, the whole shebang, is by buying the ape, and you get everything that came with it. That would be how I think the commercial rights are going to translate into the future, that all these things are going to be attached to these JPEGs. And when you buy the ape, you buy the franchise with it. And we'll see if that goes down that path. Stanley, I think you had a last question before we end off.
No, I was gonna ask Andy to shout out his the address of the restaurant for anybody watching. Where can they go see Henry and Andy and visit the restaurant? What's the address over there?
Yeah, it's 2405 7th Street in Long Beach, California.
Long Beach, California. I love the story, Andy. I think it's very inspiring. I love what you're doing. Keep going at it. Thanks for coming on. And anybody that is watching the show that's in the LA area or going to be visiting that area, make sure you stop by the restaurant. Mention the show. Maybe you get a free order of fries or a drink or something along the way. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you guys again soon.